Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go over gold and silver, do some technical analysis, and I'll give you my opinion on what's happening in it. Again, this is not financial advice, just my financial opinion on what the potential could be and the direction that it could potentially go. So here we go. It's gold and silver. I'm starting with the 10-year yield. It has been falling down. Usually what this indicates is when people are afraid, they run to the 10-year yield, they run into bonds. And with a declining yield, it means that people out there are afraid of something. Maybe a shutdown, maybe the COVID variant, maybe the forbearance moratoria ending, maybe. Not exactly sure, but people are running into bonds, which is lowering yields. There's fear in the market. Now today, looking at gold and silver, we got the dollar, DXY up top, and the gold continuous contract on the bottom. Look at how well these align. The dollar was falling and shot higher. The same time gold reversed and shot lower. So there is a connection between the dollar and gold, quite obviously, just by looking at this daily chart today. So I want to look at the dollar. Here's the dollar. This is kind of a medium term one. We've got two downtrend lines going through here. And this bottom one, I think, is a little bit, it's coming through here. We're kind of coming up, and we came back down. I think overall, if you take a bigger picture view, I'm going to back out a little bit because this is zoomed in, and I don't like looking at zoomed in things. Now, zooming out, I've got a dollar chart here, and then I've got a more recent dollar chart down here on a big weekly multi-year chart. I lined up these two peaks here. Someone said in 2017 that the dollar would do this Elliott wave type movement, and it did exactly that. This is 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. This movement is this movement. It came up to point B, and then it created a shoulder, head, shoulder, and now we're coming back down. They have it going to about 84, 85. That is the measurement of this head, and 84, 85 is down here. So dollar weakness is expected, but not exactly sure what's going on in the short to middle term here. In this short term, where we're going sideways, we have inflation. I would think that the dollar would be heading lower. So the dollar not weakening and the 10-year moving down is weird when we have high inflation rates. Very weird. Now gold, GLD, coming on across, we went to move higher today, and it sold off throughout the day. The momentum was lost, and we closed, still an up day, barely. But the momentum is coming back down. We'll have to see what tomorrow brings us. Now, SLV, bearish engulfing here. Sometimes they're fake. This is a bullish piercing, popped higher. Are we going to come back down? Potentially. We'll see. There's a struggle between the buyers and sellers here. Platinum broke to the downside, clear break. So platinum, the cheapest metal, is going to get cheaper. So we're probably going to head somewhere down here. Give it some time. GDX, bearish piercing. Came up, came down, and we could potentially head lower. We do have all these bullish engulfings, so it may kind of come back a little bit before moving on up. Difficult read right here. We're trying to break out above this kind of resistance line, and it did not want anything above that. We'll see what happens tomorrow. GDXJ, bearish engulfing with a wick at the top. I think we're going to... There's a lot of bullish engulfings down here. Usually that, with this many down here and how big they are, you've got a battle between the sellers and the buyers right now in this range. Battling back and forth. SILJ, same thing. It ran up, was going to look strong, and then it sold off hard. We have lots of big bullish engulfing patterns down here. We'll see which way this thing goes tomorrow. Hecla Mining does not look good with this big bearish engulfing. Very interesting to see this paint here. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Endeavor Silver, bearish engulfing, typically means you want to go lower on this very short-term basis, but we've got a bullish engulfing here and some big candlesticks in here, so it's a battle between the buyers and sellers right now. And I don't know who's going to win. We're going to have to wait and see. Newmont, bearish engulfing, could potentially head lower. Battle's going on right now. Barrick Gold started higher and ended lower, momentum to the downside. Bullish engulfing broke the resistance line, and this one is in an uptrend. Wheat and precious metals, again, not looking too bad, but it is a wick at the top. It reversed kind of hard with the momentum to the downside for today. Platinum Group Metals does have a kind of a larger down day. Reversal candlestick here coming up. It's chopping back and forth, but if platinum goes lower, I would expect PLG to go lower in the short term. Impala Platinum broke its downtrend line. There's a line that you can draw through here to the upside. So this one looks a lot better. I don't know if I'd go into it with the whole sector going down like that. Yamana Gold came down, trying to go higher, reversed hard today. Momentum is to the downside, but we'll see if the buyers step in here and push it higher. Sandstorm Gold, again, bearish engulfing with a bullish engulfing, three bullish engulfing. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm curious to see which way this thing breaks. The overall sector here, it is coming under pressure. The dollar headed lower in the early part of the day and then shot higher like 10 a.m.-ish or whatever it was, and then gold reversed hard. So the buyers are there. The dollar is what's going on. And I'm confused with the dollar because the dollar's holding its own. And we have all this inflation out there. We've got a real estate market that's barely in an expansion phase, just starting. Usually what leads is a weaker dollar. Inflation itself is a weaker dollar. So that doesn't match there. You can't say we've had all this inflation, have a stronger dollar, and then have interest rates and bond yields go down. Very confusing times. I don't know exactly where in history this is replicated like this. I think somebody said in the 1940s it might have been roughly the same market conditions. But it's a very weird scenario where you have everything going up in price, but your dollar is getting stronger. Does that even make sense? Weird, very weird. And the yield's going down. So if people are afraid of something and yields are going down, if banks are going in there, I don't know what they're afraid of. I don't know. I don't know if there's some mechanism that's going on where they're exchanging dollars for bonds and they're getting a whole bunch of bonds. Not exactly sure. But usually what happens is you have a weaker dollar and then interest rates go up with it. If, let's say, the banks knew that there were going to be a shutdown because of a COVID variant, like they knew something was coming before it happened, they would sell stocks and we would see stocks roll over. We would see copper sell off, and then we would see people run into bonds. And you'd maybe even see a stronger dollar. We are seeing signs of that. So, are these legit signals? Maybe. Let's watch copper, dollar, and yields. If yields drop, dollar up, and we see copper drop, I think there's a crash coming if that were to happen, and it were to drop quite dramatically. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see what this plays out. Silver, gold, platinum, they're nothing more than mechanisms of inflation. They account for inflation in the system. And if there's some crash that is coming, we should see it in stronger dollar, yields going down, people running into bonds, forces yields lower. And then we should see, you should see yields lower and copper crash. You should see copper crash as well. Maybe I'll make a clip specifically for that, those specific signals. So that's what I have for the update today. If you guys like it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Thanks for listening. This is Finding Value.